Hey, you guys. How is everybody? I should have probably went on to the support group, but if you guys hit the notification, you know, you'll get notified of any videos and content that I put up. I am multitasking right now. I'm at the park with the twins, so it's a local park where I can hang out with you guys and keep a very good close eye on them. You are, honey. Oh, I've missed you guys. Hi, Tarsha. I've missed you guys. I know. And I'm like kicking myself in the butt right now because I didn't bring my second cell phone. I'm going to be doing this thing moving forward where I'm going to put that phone number down and you guys could call in while we're live streaming. Or maybe there's another way I'll do it, but either way, I'll use either my business phone or figure out how I'll do it through like StreamYard or whatever. I thought that would be a fun way to start doing the live chat so you guys could actually talk in and not just have to type stuff to me, right? I miss you too. And I want to just start out, you guys, by just giving you a little bit, even though, my business is my business, but I do like to have transparency because I don't really have skeletons in my closet, you guys. But my personal life is always been a lot since I was a child, honestly. I've always had a lot of responsibilities for a lot of people, and it really hasn't changed in my adulthood. I have family members who have some struggles in their life, mental illnesses and stuff, and health issues, and I am their support system. And it takes a lot of energy, you guys. It takes a lot of energy. Ah, ah, ah. It takes a lot of energy. So between that and the other things that I do outside of the channel, you guys, it's been a lot. It has. And not only that, I'm going to also, get a little spiritual for a moment. Are you coming in or are you staying over there? Okay. Well, go ahead and play with your sister. I'm watching you. This has been a year for me to, have some alone time because I'm leveling up in life, and that's a good thing. But when you're leveling up, you guys, it does require isolation and time alone, and focusing on, whatever it is that you need to be refining about yourself. So, although I've been absent from the channel, you guys, I've definitely still been working on myself, which allows me to, always have something new to share. And, as I'm evolving, of course, it just, gives me more content. And that's how that works, right? So let me look at some of these content comments here. Miss you too, Tarsha. Hey, love you. Hey, Eva Roberts, Sherry 48196, Sucker Free 619. Okay. Yeah, and isolation isn't a bad thing. When you're not in that codependent energy, um, you won't resent that time of isolation. Okay. You'll see where it's actually a wonderful time. Just like some people resent their singleness, but then when they get married, they realize all of the responsibilities and obligations that come with that. And, that takes time away. I'm not going to call it a distraction, but it's energy, and we have so much to give each day. So I'm not going to ramble. I'm really glad to be here on the live chat. And hopefully, this talk that we're going to have today will help some of you who struggle with, people that may have wronged you and perhaps their lack of empathy about doing so. And I'm sure one of these or more than one of these are going to apply to that situation. Here, Mia Myers. Oh, thanks. She's so cute. Say hi to everybody.
Hi.
She's speaking all low. Hold this for a second. I'm just going to give her some water. Here you go. We got our little, I call it the juice bag. And there's a story behind that. Do you guys want to hear it? Because I keep digressing, but I have to share this as a mother. My son started the 6th grade this year, and on the first day of school, he comes home all upset and in tears. I'm like, oh no, oh no, who did it? And let's go talk to them. And yeah, I'm the mom that will talk. Some moms just go up and they just start barking without knowing nothing. But Coach Lakia has emotional maturity. So I'm like, we need to go figure this out. He said that the teacher, they have to wear these masks all day in school now. And they have these little juice cups, the little school juice cups that they give the kids. And he wanted another one. And apparently there were a whole bunch of them on her desk. And the other kids were just taking them. And he happened to ask with manners. And she says no. So I'm like, what? First of all, and he said it was after he had had gym class and he was thirsty. I'm like, why wouldn't they automatically let these children have a drink? So I went and right to the principal. At first, I tried to talk to her because I'm not one of those people. I inboxed her on a school app, made for parents and teachers to connect. She did not accept my invitation. I called the school. She had already went home. But I'm like, no, for my son to actually be crying like this, I want to talk to somebody today. They said the principal is here. I was like, that'll work. That'll work. So I went to the school, very quick because it's legit behind my house. And I was like, Nathan came home really upset, and I'm just trying to understand what's going on. I know you weren't there, but the scope of the story, is he was denied a drink after gym class when they have to wear these masks all day. And I really don't think that that's appropriate, you know. And the principal was talking about how he may have been joking around in class at lunchtime. Him and some other boys were joking around and, being class clowns, if you will. And I was like, okay, okay. So was she using this situation to determine whether he should be hydrated based off of her lack of emotional maturity because it got under her skin that he's 11 years old and he was goofing off with some boys in class? Like, what does one thing have to do with the other? You know, what does one thing have to do with the other? And she was like, you're right. His hydration shouldn't have to, because it's at first, it sounded like the principal was on board with her. Like, well, he was being bad. He don't have to get another drink. I'm like, wait a minute. You guys all keep bottles of water on your desk. I had to point that out to her, where you can drink at your leisure. Just because they're children doesn't mean that their thirst works any different. If anything, they're running around more than you guys. Okay? Like, I just wasn't feeling that. She ended up apologizing, and then she said, well, he can bring his own drinks. I was like, oh, okay, you're right, he can. I went to Walmart or whatever and got him one of them little lunch cooler things, them Trailblaze thingies. And I was like, all right, we're going to put you 3 waters in here and 2 Capris. He's like, Mom, I'm like, you ain't never got to ask her for a drink again. Trust me. He had his essential waters and everything. But he didn't want to take it to school. He was like, Mom, I just took 2 bottles of water in my book bag. I was like, well, this keeps it cold and it keeps your paperwork from getting wet, right? No, I don't want to. Da, 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 da. So now I'm using the cooler with my park runs with the twins. I'm like, well, it's still going to get put to use with me. He just wants to put the waters in his book bag. But I really got in my feelings, not in a toxic manner, but I wasn't feeling that, you guys. I'm like, wait a minute. And ever since that day, it's been like a little power struggle, I feel like, with my son and her, and this push and pull and her getting her feelings. And I'm like, come on, lady, I got to meet this girl face to face. Maybe I got to look her in the eyes. But I wasn't feeling it. And I just needed them to know, because it's a new principal this year and this is a new teacher. Like, he's not one of those kids who have parents who aren't involved. Like, I will be the squeaky wheel if you guys need it to be that way. I'm going to come up to the school every day if I have to, like, and tell you guys, it's going to be a right situation. And it won't be that child that you're going to be doing stuff to. Okay. It won't be him. But yeah, Love You says, I know that's right. Yes, we using that cooler today. We using that cooler. And I had got these little, what are they called? I don't even know what the term for them are, but you put them in your coolers to keep your stuff cold so you won't have to use actual ice. I got this big old set from BJ's. It was like $14.99, and they come in all different sizes for, different size coolers. So, hey. Love You says, shake my head. Sounds like the teacher needs to grow up. Yeah. Right. Right. Yeah, I gotta see. I think she is white. I think she's white. I think she's white. But, either way, white, black, brown, yellow, orange, just be mature, honey. Just be professional. That's all that I ask. I'm not asking you to, bend any rules for my son, but just be the adult. Can I trust you to be the adult? Apparently not. Now I have to question all their interactions. See, when he come home and say something, I can't just think of her as a real adult. Now that she has, behaved this way right off the rip, now I kind of have to get everybody's story and come to my own conclusion. And now I'm going to give my son a whole hell of a lot more credibility as a child, because you've already, you've had me put you in this box now. Right? Okay. All right. So what after all of that, I guess we can get into this live, you guys, because we got feelings around here. We got feelings, and sometimes it can be extremely hurtful. And I know, because I still do coaching sessions. I haven't been on here, but trust me, people are still getting coaching from me. And this is something that people struggle with. Why doesn't it hurt them too? So we're going to talk about that, all right? I wrote down some points that I definitely want to make sure that we talk about. But before I get into the points, I just want to talk about something else that can be going on when this is happening. And because, I do want you guys to always be increasing your emotional maturity, I want to make sure you're not one of the people that are doing this. Sometimes we want to make other people accountable for our feelings. People are accountable for their behaviors. They are. But I know this isn't going to sound right and fair to your feelings, but people really aren't accountable for your feelings. The way that I view feelings, you guys, is feelings are signals from you. Feelings are signals from your flesh. It's a signal from spirit, okay, nudging you to go this way or to not go this way, okay, make a U-turn, detour, all of that. So feelings are really to help you have some type of indication of, how well something is suiting you on whatever level it's going to be, whether it's physical, whether it's on a soul level. And the more self-awareness you're going to have, you're going to know, which feeling is addressing what part of you. Like, okay, that was my ego. Or, that physically hurt me. Shit, that hurt, because you could feel pain. But there's psychological pain as well. So I'm going to really be addressing the emotional, psychological pain here. Somebody got got a little chopper going by. And why doesn't it hurt them too? Yeah, Tarsha said hit that like button. Yes. And I don't be saying that enough. I'm still trying to grow this channel. And over the next year for sure, I do have some, I ain't gonna say tricks up my sleeves, but we trying to shake things up. We trying to do things a little bit different around here. And hey, Yvette, I did get your email about your free coaching session because you're the only one left, Yvette. No, I think there's you and one other person who did not get their free coaching session, but the other person has not tried to set up their session. But yes, Yvette, fall is a great time too for you to do this because everything's transitioning now in winter. Yvette says, hi, Lakia, glad to hear from you. Been missing you. Haven't forgot about our session. Procrastinating like an aquarium. Well, no, you actually emailed me last. I actually have to. All I need from you is your availability, Yvette. All right. That's all I really need from you at this point. All right, you guys. So the first thing on my list, why doesn't it hurt them too, is we definitely got to talk about perspectives. Like what side of the coin is somebody on, or what side are they on? A lot of times you guys are expecting the villain to feel like, the victim, if you will. If I'm not the one experiencing things in this type of way, meaning I have a different experience if I'm the user compared to the one that's being used. The user is being filled up, right? They're getting energy, they're getting light, they're getting power, they're getting resources, they're getting built up while the other person is being drained. So that creates two different sides of the coin, if you will. I'm automatically going to feel differently. This is how the narcissist can come into your life and do all these things to you and suck up all of, the supply, being the energy vampire. And then it feels like they're just walking away feeling good because they're taking your light with them. That's, helping their soul feel better, first of all. It's cleansing off a tiny bit of their darkness. It's uplifting them, even if it's until it wears out, which is why they end up needing more. But love you. I have a website, honey, www.lakiacrawford.com. Yeah, LakiaCrawford.com. It's under most of my videos, and it's usually a banner on here. I thought I put the banner on here as I was starting the live chat. Hold on, me, Elias. Let me give her some water. But yeah, a lot of people, they don't understand beyond their perspectives. There's some people who have that really good ability to put themselves in other people's shoes. They have the ability and they actually want to do that. Here, But obviously, the more selfish someone is, or the more of a selfish energy that they're in, they're not even looking to do that, you guys. So they're going to have a different perspective. And when we're talking about perspective, we have to continue to talk about people's experiences, because sometimes people don't feel it until they experience it, right? Like they had to go through it to really understand how that felt, or to at least have some type of indication, depending on their own self-awareness at that point. So yeah, you guys, their perspective really matters. And when we're talking about people's perspectives, we're talking about their upbringing, their character, their ethics, their manners, their morality. All of these things are rolling up into this person's perspective. All their life experiences, they might just be in survival mode. So they're not going to feel bad if they had to steal from you. Their perspective was, I needed to eat. I needed a place to stay. I'm just trying to live. They could be in complete victim mode through their crimes, or, it could be in their mind, there's something that's justifiable about that because their primal need, or what they're making a primal need, is being met. Does that make sense? Yvette Perez says, like I've said many times before, if Lakia takes the time to make the videos to help us, the least we could do is give her a thumbs up. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Aw, aw, you guys go hard for me, Yvette. Definitely a day one. So yeah, that's why you've heard me say in many videos, consider the source. You know, if they have a mentality where it's a win at all costs, you know, or I'll get you before you get me. So, you know, their perspective, if it's wrapped up in a lack mentality, if it's wrapped up in fear, right? That's all going to play a big part. It's all going to play a big part, you guys. All right. So beyond, you know, considering somebody's perspective, we're going to have to look at their motives, you know, and their agenda. Their motives, basically their intent, you guys. So if their motives weren't something emotional with you, if it was just wrapped up in a material world, if you will, like my motive really was just seeing you as a bank account, for instance. My motive was just seeing you as physical sex. See, you know, it's kind of depersonalizing somebody. Like I'm not even looking at you as a person with feelings at this point. I'm just looking at you as a need that you're going to fill in my life. So I'm not looking at you from your emotions as it is. So I'm not even being emotional with you, even if it feels like I'm doing emotional things, you know, because you may be taking the sexual act as something emotional when it's just something pleasurable and physical for that person. So, you know, the person's motive is definitely their agenda with you. That's going to, you know, play a big role, you guys. So, you know, after we're thinking about perspective and motives, we can take into account awareness. You know, the awareness would be, like I said, that person's ability to put themselves in somebody's shoes, to be able to do it and actually want to do it. The wanting part would be the motive, right? Their level of empathy, or how much of a empathetic type of person are you dealing with here? You know, awareness is housed under, you know, eyes closed or eyes open. Awareness is going to cover stuff like denial and someone being delusional, right? Yeah. So, yeah, awareness, you guys. Awareness. Oh, why is this asking me, do I want to end the broadcast? Not yet. Not yet. Tarsha says, yes, survival mode. Yeah. Victim mode is a huge with narcissists. Yeah. And they're the ones being offensive at that point. They're doing the damage, if you will, but yet they're victimizing them own selves. So once they make themselves a victim, then you're the villain, right? Someone has to be the other end of that coin. So they've actually flipped the script at that point. So why aren't they feeling it? Because they're already, you know, in this state of perpetually victimizing themselves, right? So that's how that works. So after we're looking at a person's awareness, we can consider their attachment level. All right. And these are all like interconnected, but what were they actually investing into the relationship? Was it their heart? You know, was it the fruit of the spirit? You know, was it their emotions? So yeah, if their level of attachment and investment and basically their level of care, right, is just of that of objectifying someone, then yeah, it, that's why it's not going to hurt them. Because if I, you know, made a mistake on this piece of paper and I balled it up and threw it in a trash can, it was just a piece of paper that I threw away. I'm not going to think about the tree per se, and you know, it's not this big emotional thing. Me and Maya's? Nope. We kind of like drew a line in the sand, if you will, hypothetically, to where they could go and where they could not go in the park, how far they could go and what areas they could play in, basically. So, yeah. So, a person's attachment level, you guys, that's going to make a big difference as well. So, once we consider that, we can move on to mental illness, actual mental illness here. When people have a mental illness, there's some type of brain impairment going on, right? So, their reality, their perceptions, their triggers, where they're coming from is going to be completely different than someone that doesn't have that brain impairment. And we can go ahead and throw personality disorders in there because honestly, this is going to sound crazy as fuck, right? But personality disorders aren't really considered mental illness, right? That's weird. It's weird to me too. It's a little weird to me too. It is, especially when we're talking about like sociopaths and psychopaths who clearly have brain injuries, especially when it comes to empathy. Like, why wouldn't that be a mental illness? That sounds like another live chat where we could dive in to medical science to determine why exactly won't they call that a mental illness. Yeah. Eva Roberts says, learning a lot with narcissism, cause I will be going to school for psychology soon, and this seems to be a huge issue. It is, you guys, and it's just growing. It really is. I was listening to something a couple of weeks ago, and it was talking about the amount of narcissists entering college. And it was like maybe back in the 70s, it was like 20 something percent of the college students were narcissism, had high, levels of it. And now it's like 74%. So they're basically saying that, in a short amount of time, the people running, corporations, which we know there's a lot of narcissists there anyway, but it's just going to be more. Like the odds of someone having a boss that's a narcissist or having to professionally deal with one. Are you ready to go? Well, the water's right there. So it becomes really important, you guys, to let me let her in. Wanna go? You want to go here or there? Okay. So it's going to be more important for people to have awareness on how to deal with them, because most people they're like, I just want to get away from them, but eventually it's going to really just be a thing of managing them, learn how to manage yourself around them, really, than necessarily even trying to manage them. Having the right type of perspective and the right type of reactions and perspectives and why they're saying this, how should I respond to this, how should I behave when I do that, all of that stuff. But yeah, pretty soon, like they're basically going to be the, what would be the word for it? What is that word, you guys? Because I'm tongue tied right now, where it's more of that than not. Not dominant, but there's another word. They're going to be the majority. That's the word, you guys. Majority. Hey, Tiffany Chanel. And for all of you coming in, this is going to, pre-record. Eva says, I think it's still considered behavioral disorder and not a mental. Right. It is. I know. But to me, because of some of the other elements, I feel like they need to just go head on and switch that. Eva says, I would suggest for my studies, if you don't have to deal with them, don't. Right, if you don't. But we were just talking about how they're going to be dominating the workforce. So it may be pretty hard to avoid them, depending on, your career path. Or if you, even if you're an entrepreneur, you may have to do business deals or get supplies from, or, you know, and shoot, I know narcissists have trying to get coaching from me. Yes, there have been narcissists. I know they were narcissists coming to me for coaching. Girl, yeah. But does anyone have any questions? Any questions on the topic, or just, I guess, any emotional maturity questions? I'm opening the floor. You know, live chats are good for people who may not be able to afford coaching, or, you know, whatever the case may be. You can always ask me questions during live chats. Pick my brain. But yeah, we basically, hold on, I'm trying to keep up with the live chat. Eva says, in the workforce, I wouldn't let them know when I'm going to leave the job. Right. But that's good, you know, strategy, period. You know, whether they're a narcissist or not, you know, because it's one thing to want to, you know, leave for another position. And there's another thing of having something signed, sealed, and delivered, and not making things awkward between you and your current employer while you're trying to transition yourself out of there. You know, you just want to not have that awkward energy. Queen J say, what's going on, Lakia? We're going on, and this live chat is going on. I'm happy to be here today on this Sunday. Queen J said, talk about narcissists on the down low. Oh, you mean sexually on the down low, hon? Yeah, it happens. It happens because we know they're hypocrites, right? And we know that they're image focused. So, you know, even though, you know, LGBTQ relationships, obviously, they're more acceptable legally, but there's still a lot of gray areas, and definitely black and white with different cultures and different circles, right? So, yeah, if a narcissist wants to keep a certain image, and this all goes with them wearing those masks, right? But it's really a shame, though, because a lot of people get hurt in these instances. And this is how a lot of women who are faithful, and men, I'll say men too, of course, but more women, I'm sure, who are faithful in their relationships end up with these STDs, or, you know, being in these third party situations, unbeknownst to them. Like, come on, do I get the right to decide if I want to kiss you if you had something in it? If, you know, I don't have to say the rest. You guys know. Like, don't I get the right to decide if I want to partake in that? Ooh, ooh. And I'm not trying to, you know, I'm definitely not trying to offend any of my um, gay or male gay subscribers, because I definitely have them. I definitely have them for a fact, I know. But, you know, I just feel like women have a right, people have a right to decide, you know, what they want to partake in, and being put in third party situations, even if it was with another woman. Like, he could be going down on her. Like, I don't want her energy and her germs, if you will. I don't want to be kissing that either. So it's not even a he or she thing. It's just like, I like clean sex. You know what I mean? And people have a right to know. Rodney Robinson says, why the narcissist came back for a day or two and leave again? Because that's what they like to do, put people on the show. And that's how you definitely know that you're being objectified. You definitely know that you're being juggled, you know. And they'll do this even to the main person, because everybody's being juggled with them. There's no loyalty there, or faithfulness, if you will. Um, Hold on. I see your questions, Queen J. Hold on a minute. Is it possible? Wait, I'm just trying to make sure, because it just jumped around the question, the chat. Is it possible for a narcissist to make you a narcissist? It is definitely possible for you to become more narcissistic. Yeah. Especially if you keep interacting with the narcissist. Like, there's a million ways that somebody can react to a situation. And some people can end up becoming more narcissistic. This is that whole thing, good girl gone bad. When they say something like that, maybe, huh? When I go on the seesaw. All right, tell Nene Nay to get on the seesaw with you because you need somebody on the other side. So, yeah. But some people would argue that the person may have had those tendencies laying dormant. That could be the case. But it could also be, a person adapting to their environment. And it's like for her or him to continue to survive while still attempting to, maintaining that connection. Yeah, it's quite possible. And then that's that Whitney Houston song, I learned from the best I learned from you. Yeah, yeah. So, all right, well, let's tell Nene. What do you want to play catch with them first? See, Nene, she's playing catch. And then when she's done with that, you guys can come over here on the seesaw. All right? So, yeah, you can definitely, if you're paying attention and not so absorbed by your hurt and pain, yeah, you're going to learn from the best, if you will, the best of being deceitful and devious and manipulative, right? So, yeah, they can make you more narcissistic. They can. They can. They don't have to, but they can. I mean, if anything, it's going to increase your emotional maturity to where you will peep game. And that doesn't make you a narcissist just because you understand it. It's the way that you behave that can make you like, oh, okay, that was narky, or that was a little narcissistic. But it doesn't mean that you now become a narcissist. But yeah, you could end up increasing your tendencies depending on how you choose to, respond and react from those experiences. And then they say the people that you hang around, you start to become like them. Sometimes that's true. That's usually the case. So, and then if we go back to Darwin's survival of the fittest, it would say that you would have to become a little narcissistic to survive in that environment if you're still in it. So, and then that depends on if you're fighting to survive or you are just, you know, allowing yourself to be victimized or, being the less aggressor or however you want to see that. So, but yeah, you can pick up those traits. So Queen J says, what are the signs that somebody might be on a down low? Well, uh, do they hang out with people who are out? Do they seem a little bit too buddy buddy with the same sex gender? Have you seen them search suspicious things on the internet, that is in regards to that? How, yeah, sometimes it might just be some classic things like the person is just too, especially when we're talking about like a gay guy, maybe it might be stereotypical things where he's like super into fashion. Sometimes it's a super, super fine, pretty boy. Like it's the person, I know this is so stereotypical, but sometimes it's obvious things. What type of music sometimes. There are some music that is a little bit more LGBTQ than others. How does he dance? He or she, you know. So, and then sometimes the sign is that they're completely homophobic because that was weird to me at certain times in my life. Like, if you're so, like, why are you so, like, you about to bust a vein about what those two adults are doing. Okay, you don't agree with it, but why are you busting a vein? Why do you have to be the loudest one in the room? Like, sometimes that's the person that's at least curious. All right. And now I'm going to give you some other signs for those of you who may know other things about this person. But if they have a lot of Gemini placements in their chart, that could be someone that could be a little bit more sexually fluid there. You want to look for Gemini. You want to look for mad Aquarius placements. And I know this is like a whole nother sector, and this is astrology. And some of you like, what the hell is even Gemini or Aquarius? I don't know. But for those that apply, well, now, and those who don't, if you want to research it, yeah, can. But yeah, you might see stuff like that. Those type of people would have a lot of those type of placements, or if they're Venus, if a man's Venus sign is in a masculine sign, that could indicate being attractive to male energy. All right. Just some things to look out for. So Psychic Dashin, the Vampire Slayer, says my narcissist is a Gemini moon, Virgo, and Capricorn rising. Okay, but that Gemini moon, well, number one, that could make a person bipolar. That Gemini moon, because the moon is your emotions, and Gemini is 2 for twins, so it's like double-mindedness. Like you might not know they may have minimally 2 personalities, and that could be a double life. Showing one thing to you and one thing to another person. Okay. So, yeah. And with that Capricorn rising, that's a person wanting to hide it because Capricorns care about their image, baby. So that can be a down low get up. Oh, no, you said Gemini sun, moon in Virgo. Okay. Moon is actually in Virgo. Mm-hmm. Virgo's like the third. Uh-oh, don't let me tell you that he's the one giving. Oh my gosh. Gotcha. Hey, Tracy. Okay, gotcha. Yeah. So, the chat is like going on. How did I skip over all of this? I would always question because in 3 years found out he was married and got a Hoover. Okay, Eva, where's the first one? Geez, the chat really went down. All right, I think what to hear. Yvette says, even though I have gone no contact a year and now he hoovers by phone, I ignore him. Good. But I dream of him all the dang on time. It's ridiculous. I'm a dreamer anyways, but dang. Yvette, honey, you got to make sure he is not the last thing on your mind, girl, when you're going to sleep. Because sometimes when we dream about people like that, that means he's on your mind too, girly. For whatever reason, it may not be something positive. It could just be like, you know, every time he's calling you, it could be putting him back in the forefront of your memory, if you will. It could be triggering that. So hopefully you're blocking each new number that he's trying with. But I would work really hard to focus on something else as you're going to sleep. And try really hard for it not to be him. Yeah. Other than that, he sounds like a real psychic vampire because he's like really working hard to get a hold of you some kind of way, and he's not being successful at doing that in a three-dimensional world. You're not taking his calls. So he's trying to like travel to you through your dreams. It could be that too. It could be his energy trying to do that, but I was sitting right back where it came from. What? Start fantasizing about somebody else. Let him try to come in that dream and see you make it out with somebody else. I'm being silly right now, but Yvette, the main thing is make sure he's not on your mind before you go to bed and think about something else. Because thinking about him not being on your mind is still thinking about him at that point. You know, maybe that could be a morning thing for you, meditating on getting him out of there. But before you go to bed, be thinking about something else and meditating on something else that has nothing to do with him, something, positive for you. Eva said, I would stick with the main question, why doesn't it hurt them too? You must have came in, Eva, on the back end. We spent you know, approximately the first half hour of the chat going over that. We talked about people's perspectives and motives and awareness, attachment levels, the mental illness. So you will have to go back in the beginning of the live chat, hon. And I pretty much get to the point, so I'm not long-winded with that. You might want to skip in maybe the first, I don't know, you guys, what, 8 minutes where I was talking about other things. All right. You think his mother and baby mother care? Uh, well, the thing about people caring about anything that you're going through, people tend to care based off of their needs. So if there's something about his relationship with you that affects your relationship with them that they care about, then that's going to invoke a care. Outside of them being more empathic and just caring about him being a better person or caring about this person stop being toxic or whatnot. But people tend to care by the motivation of what they're getting out of that. So if your relationship with him doesn't really affect them, doesn't affect his relationship with them, I don't know how much they care. And that's the thing. People don't care as much as we think. And that's something that a lot of survivors need to understand before they get to the point of thriving. Because that's going to be a big, what's the word I'm trying to get right now? Theme. That's going to be a big theme, you guys, for 2022. We're going to be talking more about thriving. I've been saying this survivor word for a lot of years, but I want you guys to just be thriving flat out. Surviving, being a survivor is definitely a step closer, but I want you to break through that and get to thriving. Queen J says, I went through his Facebook friends list and let's just say it looked suspect, a whole bunch of underage girls and gay men. Yeah, so this person is just perverted. He's got a lot of perverted energy in him, period, which means, sexual demons and all of that. So, yeah. So you got your confirmation. Eva says, I would always question because in 3 years found out he was married and got the Hoover. Yeah, so yeah. Just like I said, I don't know, maybe 15 minutes ago, that even the quote unquote main person is not getting that loyalty because they need that constant attention. Psychic Bastion, the Vampire Slayer, says if you want to play by the institution's strict fake rules and hypocritical moral values the narcissist has, you would try to treat them the way they treat you and make them hate you. I don't know if they would hate you though. I mean, I don't know if that would make them hate you. I know if that. If anything, it could be a situation where the the negative energy can be just as fulfilling. And if they're miserable, they've gotten somebody else to join in. So now we're all miserable together, right? So Love You says, I think mine's turned me karmic. You mean you think the relationship turned you into a karmic one? I don't think it turns into a karmic one, honestly. It's just probably that from the get, it's just you realizing that it's a karmic relationship may come, down the line. Eva says, he doesn't know that I know we can never be again because what a foul thing to trick someone into. Yeah. And that's okay. He don't have to know that you know, but he'll know something is changed, by you distancing yourself. And you don't have to prove anything. You done? You ready to go? No. Oh, she's saying tired. I thought she said, I'm tired. It's like, tie my shoes. I double tied it. How'd this thing come out? No, no. Oh my gosh. I have to show you guys a picture of the twins and you can see how tall they are. They're tall like their mama, for those of you who don't know. I'm like 6'1". My biological father is 6'8". So, and my mom's like 5'2". God rest her soul. But she was a shorty doo-wop. All my aunts, they're all shorty doo-wops. So, let's see what else you guys got. C.H. Robinson says, I just divorced my narcissist, tried blocking, but we share a kid. When can I expect them not to see me as supply? And how can I deal with him? The whole thing, C.H. Robinson, is not being so concerned with their perceptions because we know that they make a lifetime contract with illusions, delusions, and fake masks and all of this and that. The best thing that you could do, Sage Robinson, is actually manage down your any type of emotional attachment you have to what this person's perspective is and what they're thinking and feeling, or what he tries to project on you, or what he tries to bait you into, on a boring day, or just to see if he still can arouse you emotionally. So when can you expect them not to see you as supply? Um, the more you gray rock him, the more you don't give a reward for any attempt, even like, I'm not even going to give you an argument because an argument can be a reward for a narcissist. They can get arousal off of that. That's why you see those smirks and, the smiles and all of that. They're getting high off of that. So the less he's rewarded for any type of attempt, the more you're gray rocking him and making him a non-factor and just being very black and white with him when it comes to your child, the less he's going to see you as a supply. But because you have a child, chances are he may never lose hope, even though the hope can become smaller. I'll just put it that way. The hope can become smaller, you know, but he may still think that one day, like the divorce wasn't enough. Oh, I still got her. One day. So, yeah. And how can you deal with him? Through gray rocking. Gray rocking, being emotionally detached from him and his personal life, whoever he's with now, whatever he does, because sometimes it seems like they're moving on quick. They're married next month. Like, you can't be getting jealous. You can't be getting emotionally caught up. And if you do experience these things, never let them see it. Get yourself into therapy, come to coaching with me, have your confidant, your best friend, cry with, and make sure that they definitely are not in cahoots with that person. Like, have a trustworthy person. So if you do have those breakdown moments, they'll never know about it. When we leave, okay? I'll give you some more when we leave. All right. Let's see, you guys. Who else got a question? Eva says, what are the things that I did to heal myself after narcissistic abuse, basically? Well, I definitely got myself into counseling and therapy. And I think a lot of survivors skip this step and they treat it like any other normal breakup when it's absolutely not. There's a lot of trauma here, and the rabbit hole goes very deep, probably back to your childhood. So there, once you've had enough and you want that to be your last experience, extensive therapy. I did it for at least 18 months. I had 2 therapists that I went to, and I was addressing primarily different things with each one. So I definitely started to invest into myself. I finally made myself the priority, and I became less concerned with what that person was doing and completely concerned with my well-being. I became a best friend to myself, Eva. I had to become my own best friend. See, survivors prior, they're busy being very distracted with being friends with everyone else and not being friends to themselves, is at the expense of themselves. And that's why it leads to that ultimate abandonment of yourself. It's like, okay, that narcissist abandoned me, but I abandoned myself a long time ago because I wouldn't let people treat me this way, right? So all of that has to be addressed. Like, why was it acceptable? Why did I allow that? And what could I do to never allow that to happen again? What do I need to change about the way that I move, the way that I think, the way that I behave, the way that my perspectives? What needs to be shifted here? Increasing my self-worth and, my self-esteem. What's off balance here? What am I disconnected from? Getting reconnected to the source, the most high, getting reconnected to my soul, because a lot of times when we're in those situations, we're too concerned with the 3 dimension, like having this person, having this relationship, people pleasing. That's all worldly, if you will. But it's like, what does spirit want me to do? What is my soul crying out? And the closer we get to God's voice, the more clear we can hear him. So yeah, my healing process, I definitely had to reconnect with my discernment, because that's what it is, your gut and your discernment. No, it's not. I think the twins are going to be ready to go soon. Do you wanna come in the car? You do? Come on. You can come in the car and have some chicken. It's gone. A bug was on her cheek. It was just as scared of you as you were of it. I know. Summertime. You can't take the sunny days without the bugs. You want a piece of chicken now? Okay. It's not in your eye. It was just on your cheek, but it's far gone now. Do you want another drink? You want to go back to the park? You sure? All right, come on. You guys have about 15 more minutes. I'm just going to get the rest of the questions before I end the live chat. She did all of that to hop back out. I done lost my whole train of thought, you guys. All right, so yeah. Oh yeah, I was talking about how I healed. And writing was very therapeutic. During that time is when I birthed my book. And I know I'm not trying to be cheesy to plug these in. I'm just letting you know I have written 4 books, but they started out as just me journaling. And I started writing poetry and stuff, and I shared it with a friend, and she was like, "Oh my God, you should publish this." And I did. I always wanted to write a book. And then my life came so full circle with that, because I found out my mother always wanted to write a book from one of her close cousins. My mom passed away when I was 7, and I would have never known that. So, once I turned to the higher source, of course, he was going to make lemonade out of my lemons. A lot of things that I had to digest and heal from, but it certainly changed me for the better. And it actually led me to this platform. I ended up starting this channel. What? Look at God. And he gave me a testimony for you guys. So, he allowed me to go through that experience because he was going to use me anyway. There's no bug in your teeth. So yeah, my daughter, she's a little OCD like me when it comes to these bugs. I don't be playing either. But yeah, I ended up helping other people, and that's a great thing. And I'm not telling that's not everybody's calling. It's not. But even if it's um, telling your daughter, telling your best friend, or someone close to you, each one teach one. So sometimes we can give to other people what we feel like we don't have at that time. And that's the secret. That's one of the secrets to abundance. You okay? Okay. And I cried a lot too. I'm going to point that out. I definitely cried a lot. I allowed myself to go through that purge because there were a lot of pent up things, that I pushed down. And I always, in other videos, I'll talk about that beach ball being pushed to the bottom of the pool and then it comes up. Because I was having, you guys, all type of panic attacks and everything. I legit had a form of PTSD after, like, that last person really traumatized the shit out of me. But I needed that experience because I was one of those people who needed to hit a rock bottom to bring me back to myself, though. So, yeah, it was that catalyst that brought me back to myself. But I allowed myself to feel. I'm not the most emotional woman, I'll say that. Even though I definitely have feelings, but I'm more analytical than I am emotional. And because I was always just so used to being responsible, I felt like I didn't have time to feel. God gave me a timeout when I was pregnant with the twins, and I could no longer work because Mother Nature and all of these things is like I had to sit. I had to take several seats, and that's how he worked that out. He gave me a season where where I couldn't be ripping and running. I couldn't be throwing myself into work as a distraction from my feelings. I couldn't keep myself busy with a whole lot of things. I even had a C-section. I really had to be still. But it was during that stillness where I learned to appreciate being still. And this is why meditation is a beautiful thing, you guys. So, yeah. I was forced. I had to be forced. So when I talk to you guys, I'm talking to you from several levels as someone who's been there and done that, and just someone who's also studied it through the books, and then someone who has talked to a lot of people who have been through it as well. So I know how to see angles, definitely. Let's see, what else did I do for my healing? I was definitely exercising. Because I had depression and I had to address that. And yeah, so yeah. And when you're exercising, you do release those endorphins. So I did lean on that where I could. But what I didn't do was not get help. It was, even though I had the therapist and everything, it was still an isolation time for me. And you may find that to be true, and that's fine. That's fine. You don't need a bunch of people. You don't generally need a bunch of people in life anyway. If I meet someone and they tell me they have a bunch of friends, I'm already taking a few steps from them. Like, I don't think you understand how life works, and I don't like it when people use the word friend too loosely. So it might be a time of isolation for you as well, but that is to break your codependency. And it's also for God to show you that you needed him and not them anyway. It's for him to prove to you, like, look, I done isolated you. And when you come out on the other side and you look back, like, dang, it was me and God. Because he's working through the therapist. We're just vessels. I'm just a vessel too, right? So he wants you to see, he's trying to break that codependency in you. That's why he will isolate you. Not only is he trying to break that codependency, he don't want too much clutter around you. this one's voice, that one's voice. He wants, that one-on-one with you so you can clearly hear, hey, I'm talking to you and I don't want other people distracting you right now. I'm going to make them unavailable. I'm going to make them busy in their life. I'm going to make them not care about you right now. Or I'm going to put an obstacle that block, he's going to make it so that, because he did it with me. I used to be a bad codependent, you guys. I went through something. I could never just sit with me and God. I would have to call a friend. If I couldn't call that person, I would have to call other people and get their opinions. And it's like, can you think for yourself? But I've learned that the answers are within me. That's something I had to really learn. The answers are within me. Okay. It's okay to seek wise counsel, but that's me going to God. Or it's me going to someone who I feel I can respect their authority in this. I can respect, their education in this area. Right. So yeah, I did the shadow work, you guys. I did the shadow work. Yep, Queen J says they're overly obsessed with image. I know we're like a few minutes back here with these. Let's go now. It's just skipping everywhere. Skipping everywhere. Hey, brown girl. Aw, awesome, C.H. Robinson. See you then. Absolutely. See, we got a co-signer here. Brown girl says, actually, I'm glad I went through it also because it made me stronger and wiser person. Yeah, definitely. Like the level of naiveness. Can you imagine how naive you were, right? Not anymore. Not anymore. All right. Seashell 200 says that is powerful isolation to break the codependency. So true. Thanks so much, Lakia. You're a true angel. Aw, thank you, sweetie. Awesome. Making sure that I didn't skip anyone's question. Oh, whoa. That's the sexual perversion, Queen J. That's sick. That's the sexual perversion. And we were just talking about him. Awesome, Dawn. Awesome, Dawn. And isn't it awesome when you can do that and not feel conflict about it and feel completely at peace and in sync with that? Awesome. Okay, Love You says, I'm tall too, 5'7". Well, girl, I must be tall, right? All right. I think I believe I got all of you guys' questions. I'm just going through here. Psychic Dashin says, and they have Jupiter and Aquarius in the first house. Oh. Well, Aquarius is the official LGBTQ. So yeah, Jupiter. There's definitely some. Well, I ain't gonna say definitely. There's most likely. I'll say most likely some sexual fluidness going on there. Miss you too, Tracy. Miss you too, hon. And oh yeah, for those of you listening, I've been trying to like really come up with a good schedule, and I'm thinking moving forward that Sundays I'll probably come on here and do live chat. So look out for me on Sundays and possibly Saturday nights. Possibly Saturday nights. Okay, so that's gonna kind of be the times where you can most likely look forward to me, other than my little peekaboos where I just randomly, upload a video here and there. But make sure you guys have hit the notification bell, right? And you may have to revisit that. If you did it years ago, like just make sure it's still hit. Aw. And with that being said, you guys, it was awesome spending time with you today. And I'm definitely not done with the channel. Your girl is not gone. Okay. I feel like this is the type of channel where there's always going to be something to say. Psychology is just deep like that, right? And like I said, as long as I continue to grow and learn and be a lifelong learner myself, I'm always going to have something to pass on to you guys. And with that being said, you guys, let me see. Oh, awesome. Awesome. Love you. Awesome. Oh, I appreciate all of you guys. And thanks for being patient with me. Like, my loved one has cancer. We've, we've been going through chemotherapy, you know, and I have a family member with schizoaffective and another family member with something else. Like, you guys, he didn't give me my emotional maturity for nothing. Not only did God give that to me to help this channel, but he definitely uses me in my personal life and my family and close loved ones. I carry a lot, but you know, I've learned how to balance out my self-care and my self-love, which is why I had to be quiet a little bit on the channel for a moment, because after, you know, what the other things that I do to put money on the table, which isn't, you know, this isn't my bread and butter per se. This is what I do on a soul level, even though, yes, you know, money is energy, and I do get some compensations from this, absolutely. And, you know, I'm thankful for all of that, but I do other things as well. But between that and managing my family members that need me, and this being more of a quiet year for me, like, I already knew that, and I don't fight against it. I'm not one of those people that need to talk just to talk. Like, I do have over 900 videos here, but every time that I post a video, Mom, there's a tree. Yeah, isn't it pretty? Trees help us breathe. But every time I post a video, you guys, Spirit told me to do it. It's something that's inclined in me. And if I don't have that push to do it, I'm not doing it until I have that push to do it. But in the meanwhile, God is always I'm always feeding myself. So, you know, I'm always learning stuff, whether I'm sharing it yet or not. You know what I'm saying? But this has definitely been a quiet year, but that year is phasing out. And next year is going to be more of a non-quiet year for me. So let's look forward to that. It's going to be a lot of fun. And like I said in the beginning, I want to have it to where you guys can start calling in with me. That's something I'm going to incorporate on the channel moving forward. So I'm going to figure out the best way to do that. And we'll start doing this, like I said, probably on Sundays. That's like my day for me. Out of all my 6 days, it's the main day that I have for that. Well, we're about to leave, me and Maya. So yeah, it was great talking to you guys. Oh, thank you, Tiffany. Everything is well. My family member, they caught the cancer at stage 1A, which is okay. You got like 3 minutes, girly. Go ahead. 3 minutes. They caught the cancer at stage A. Oh, my son's calling me. So that was the blessing right there. So, you know, this is my first time being up close with the breast cancer. So it's, you know, it's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. The chemotherapy itself, good Lord, God bless anyone who's gone through that. God bless them. But things are looking really good for my loved ones. So that's really good. So that's the good thing. You know, as far as the other thing, I've been very much up close with mental illness in my life, through close family members, and I manage their prescriptions. There's 2 of them, and it's definitely an ongoing thing. And there's good days, there's bad days with the schizoaffective, and you know, but God knows. Like I said, He didn't give me my strength for nothing. He knows what I can handle and what I can't. So there's a lot that I've been managing these things since the beginning of the channel. It's just that as they got older, it got a little more severe, and a lot more time and energy was pulled towards that. So, but I'm working to, you know, get that more stabilized. And the more that these things are happening, the more I'll be more freed up to come on here with you guys, you know. But I have to have my time too. You know, I can't just be like nonstop. But when I come on here, it's definitely very relaxing for me. I enjoy this. It's definitely, something that I'm passionate about. So I hope you guys can feel that energy. It's never a bother to me when you email me. I do read all the comments, even if I don't necessarily respond. I might try to just heart it. But I see you guys. I see you guys. I have the two support groups still on Facebook, the private one and the public one. The public one, is good for if you want to be posting things for others. The private one, we have a daily thread where, you can say how you feel and all of this and that. So I'm still here, you guys. Yeah. Hey, Kiki Jefferson. Oh, thank you. Love you. Oh, Kiki, you feel codependent in finances? Okay. Well, not sure your situation, so it's hard for me to just jump in and speak on that. Not sure your situation. Yeah, thank you, Leonore Silva. Right, yeah. A lot of them there, and then it may be even some of the ones that are like most notable, honestly, with the church thing. Yes. Thank you, Tiffany. Why you throw it in there if you want it? You're about to get it because we're about to go. I'll give it back to you. All right, you guys. Thank you for tuning in. For those of you who just tuned in, go back to, maybe the first 8 minutes. After the first 8 minutes to get the meat of the topic for today. I hope it blessed someone, help give someone something to think about. I can't reach it from here. Oh, yes, I can. Here you go. All right, you guys, until the next time, never give up on yourself. It's time to go. No more seesaw. Never give up on yourself. Continue to do the work, of course. And take care until next time, you guys.